see what I got. You know, I'm not gonna lie to you and act like I just grabbed this and then I'm carrying it inside right now. It was definitely already here, but I needed something to carry in because, you know, that's my thing. So yeah, we're gonna try to install the exhaust system and a couple other things. Come on. Come into the shed.
Hey, Slick. Are you still in the shed?
Well, hello, dudes and dudettes, folks of all kinds and sort. Slick back here in the shed. And I wasn't sure when this day would come, but by golly, we're here. We're finishing up Sally. We're this close, all right? Engine, rebuilt, broke in, okay? Transmission, just did an episode on it. Rebuilt. Check. Who knows if it actually works? I'm sure it does. It's fine. We'll figure it out when we put everything together. This last part, okay, gonna be us putting the engine and transmission together, installing the exhaust system, connecting the drive shaft, changing the rear differential fluid. Did I say installing the radiator? And then all it needs is aligned, and we're golden, baby. I've never installed a new exhaust system before, but that's where we're gonna start. Nothing to it but to do it. All right. Okay, one of the smarter things that we could do, if I may be so bold, get all the exhaust parts out here on the floor so we can kind of develop an idea of how's that gonna, you know what I mean? Did you see that? I got a pep in my step, that's what that was. All right. There's some mufflers in here. Okay. I think they call this an H-pipe. I'm no exhaust expert. Oh, careful now. Oh, yeah, this has got all the good stuff in there. Hey, we got some donuts. We got some heavy-duty muffler clamps, a universal tailpipe hanger. I mean, what more do you need? I'm guessing they figure if you got this far, you ought to know what the heck you're doing. Figure it out, bud. To which I reply, I'll try. You only don't know how to do it until you do. Yep, that's a muffler. It's hot. Very hot. What I'm really procrastinating here is rolling around on the floor. Not looking forward to that. How'd you do, folks? Slick back here in the shed. So I know last time that we talked, I said that, okay, hey, whole exhaust system, let's start with that, install, start from the back, work towards the front. Yeah, okay. I have it together. And by together, I mean it's sitting in pieces where it should be, on the floor. What I know that we need at this point is I need to throw that engine and transmission in the car, have it set in place so that I can hook the exhaust manifolds up to, what would it be called, the exhaust inlet pipe, all right? And then we just go from there, okay? I also know that I need to fabricate at least one tailpipe hanger attachment point, if that's what you want to call it. A bracket. I need to make a bracket. I can make it now, but I would rather wait until we have the exhaust in position so I know exact dimensions of what I need to make and where I need to put it. That makes the most sense, right? Okay, sure. Now that we're on the same page, let's put the engine and transmission together, I guess. Just put it in the car. Simple as that. Yeah, now we're getting somewhere. Torque converter though. Oh, it's not light. Let's do it like this. Need to add our torque converter first. Are you seeing this? I don't want you to miss it now. Now, don't think that that's engaged, okay? You need to keep going until there is no, like there's no, I can fit my hand behind the torque converter right now, right? You keep pushing that bad boy on there until you are unable to do that anymore. Because if you leave it like this, you put everything back together, you run it, you are going to have a major issue. You're going to have leaks, maybe burn up your pump, whatever, because all your fluid's going to come out. Nothing's engaged yet. That's still not all the way there yet. Twist and rotate, twist and rotate. Aha! See that? Still not sure if we're all the way there. The 2 clicks, right? I've heard that. The first one, good, but we're not all the way there. Second one, we're seated. And there's no way for me to fit my hand all the way back in there. We have full engagement of the torque converter. That's where we want to be. Yeah, I don't know, that's 2 quarts and it doesn't look like a massive leak, so that's something. You know what I say, folks? That it doesn't have to be perfect, but you know what? I did this well enough to not be concerned with putting my name on it. Yep, that's what my handwriting looks like. Should have been a doctor, maybe. We're gonna switch the motor mounts out quick. Motor mounts are changed. Now, let's see if my theory's correct about us being able to get that engine over here and just kind of slide the engine and transmission together right off the side of the table. It works in theory. Heck of a spot for all this. Easy does it. Flies. Stay for a minute, would you? There. Less of a chance of everything just falling off. I need this end to go down just a little. Right under the mount. I don't know. Would have been easier to just slide this in while the engine was already in? I don't know. Figured out another way to do it though. Well, we're all connected. By golly, I think we need a drink break. I am parched. Okay, slight deviation from our regularly scheduled programming. You're not gonna completely be able to see this, but I'll describe to you quick what I'm gonna do. Okay, so before I put the engine and transmission, before I slip it in the car, right, I wanted to make sure that everything was out of the way in the transmission tunnel, right? And that is, you can see what I'm pointing to. I'll point with the light. There. This right here is the transmission tunnel, right? Your gear shift is on top of it. Well, the underside of the transmission tunnel, you see it looks like a large hump. That's why it's kind of like a half tunnel. In that area is where was snagged the speedometer cable, runs, you know, up underneath there. Wanted to make sure anything relative to the linkage for the gear shift is out of the way and not an obstruction for when we slide the transmission tail shaft in there, because that'll be one of the first things I have to do is I'll get the engine set down, bolted in, and then I'll have to go underneath the car, support the tail shaft of the transmission until I can get the transmission cross member also up underneath there, bolted in. So it's just going to be a lot of little finagling, and I wanted to make sure this is all clear before I go under there. Well, one of the things, it got me a little sidetracked, but it's something that needed to be done anyway, is I know the emergency brake, parking brake, whatever, isn't working. I redid the entire brake system as far as added front disc brakes, front disc brake conversion, did whole new, kept drums in the rear, but all new hardware. So new drums, new shoes, all new hardware on the inside of the drums, which is just, if you ever worked on drum brakes, yep. So there's that. And why would I go through all the effort of redoing all that just to have the parking brake not work? Doesn't make sense to me. I think big reason why it's not working is because I don't know if it was Gramps that did this or the people that owned it before. We'll blame them, because I'd rather do that than blame Gramps. Although it is a zip tie job, so I'll be honest with you, I think it was Gramps. We come in and zip tied the washer fluid tube on top of the tube for the parking brake mechanism to run through, and I believe that's what's holding up the parking brake from being able to actuate as designed, and we can't have that. Oh, but I almost got it all by feel. Wow, look at me go. All right, there's a little cotter key I'm gonna have to pull. It's holding on this little wheel. I'll show it to you, or I'll put a diagram up that's attached to this parking brake assembly. My wire for the emergency brake is off track, and I think it's getting bound up in there. So that cotter key was attached to this pin running through the wheel, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to punch that pin out. Nope, it's coming. The little pin has a lip on one side. This is what I was talking about. The wire that's attached to the end of this, you pull this, comes out like it's supposed to now. Weird, huh? Almost like I know what I'm doing. Kinda, I guess. The wire is supposed to go around here, gets redirected, it's basically sitting in there like this, goes through the floor, down, and like, depending on what year year car you have, if it's a convertible or not, because I guess they had to change it just because it was a convertible. Why does that make any sense? It gets split off underneath here, depending on, yeah. Let's reset the cable, and we ought to be fine. How did that even come off in the first place? All right, I gotta look at the diagram here. I'm losing it. Okay, doke, folks. Pretty sure I figured out what the problem here was. So let me crawl under here. I'll show you. Oh, there's not a lot of room here, is there? Okay, now that I'm here, I'm gonna tell you a scary story. See, I got our exhaust installed on the floor here, right up here. This ain't moving at this joint, and when you're pulling that cable inside, it should be moving, pulling this. It's attached to this, hooked in here. This should be rotating. This up here, both these sides run to the rear brake shoes accordingly, and they're loose enough. They're not inhibiting our movement. What's inhibiting our movement's right here. So what I'm gonna do is Gramps had this little, I hope this isn't too close for you. Gramps had this little oil can, and I took the oil that was inside of it and replaced it with some of the old ATF that we just used for our C4 transmission rebuild, because automatic transmission fluid, ATF, is supposed to penetrate a little bit better than just general oil. So I'm gonna give this a little, okay, and I'm getting it everywhere. Give this a little bit of a little dab will do ya. And then we bring in the great equalizer. I'm just trying to get this to budge. Speedometer cable, I need you out of here. That is a danger zone. Got any leverage? No. Can we get it to move at all? Maybe I ought to heat it up. When in doubt, heat it out. Just rolling on the floor. There. Oh, it moved just a little. Oil. How you like me now? Oh my goodness gracious. Well, everything let loose all at once, I see. Oh, one step forward and two back. What is that? Well, hey, you know what the good thing is? I can hear when I pull our parking brake cable. When I do that, I can hear all of our shoes working like they should, which is good. Where's the end of our cable? Broke off right in here. Nice. Oh, well, unfortunately, I have to buy another one of these. That's fine. Quick fix, but, well, if I need to hop underneath there and manually apply the brake cable, I could do that. Don't worry, the more maniacal I look, the longer the day progresses, the more progress we've made. It bit me. Ooh, you stinker. Since I was able to get it out, I wanted to share some best lessons learned and show you how this functions. This is your cable that would sit like right underneath the steering wheel, left side. So if you wanted to pull your parking brake and apply it, you pull it out. You can see how this looks like a caulk gun, right? How that would function with these little detents. And you've got a little lever system in here that falls down into those detents. The more you pull this out, it operates kind of like a ratcheting function, right? The more you would pull, the tighter that gets. You want to disengage, you turn counterclockwise, push her back in. You notice there's a large detent here, even deeper at the end. Push that in, then your ratchet falls into place here. You can buy a whole replacement front cable system to include the bracket. Sits right here. It's like 15-20 bucks. So I have to buy that, wait for that to get shipped, put all this back together. Okay. Oh, last thing. This is the biggest piece of info that's going to be helpful to anybody who's ever trying to do this. I don't know if this is just a Mustang thing or if this is going to be like Mercury's, like the Cougars, the Fairlanes, Montego. But you notice the end of these, those are little studs, right? And this would be on the interior. Those studs go through the firewall. Two little, I believe these are 1/2-inch flange nuts. And you know where they go? They go all the way back in there. Back in there. Imagine how fun that was for me. If you're doing any type of brake conversions or whatever, it's going to add additional lines in there. Maybe with the factory lines, it wouldn't be such an issue. You add a couple more in there, it gets very tight, very quick. Very much so a pain. I would highly suggest you screw with the parking brake cable before you do anything else. Like if you have the brake master cylinder and all those lines already out of the way, that's the time. Thank goodness that we did this before we put the engine and transmission in there. Well, I gotta order that part. We'll catch you on the next one. Howdy there, folks. Slick back here in the shed. So we got something not so fun for me, but probably interesting for you to do. We'll see how far we get through with it. Let me give you a little context, okay? So we're getting ready to change the rear gear oil, the fluid surrounding the rear differential, okay? Now I've read statements from folks on vintage Ford and classic Mustang forums stating that there's a possibility that you could have gotten a factory Ford 8-inch rear end with no fill plug on the differential carrier side or the axle housing side, which means the only way for you to change the gear oil in that differential is to unbolt the whole thing. And by the whole thing, I mean unbolt the differential carrier. I think I'm saying that right. Drain it. I may or may not need to pull the axle shafts. I don't know. We'll figure it out as we get there. What I did get was to alleviate this in the future is I got a plug. I got a 1/2-inch plug. We're gonna drill on, I think it makes sense if I'm able to take the whole differential carrier out, take that out and drill into that side. Post 1967, that's where they moved the fill plug on an 8-inch, probably a 9-inch as well, don't quote me on that, rear end. Whereas pre-1967, it would have been on the axle housing side. So number one, could have had very slim chance you could have got that straight from factory, but more likely the previous owner might have redid the rear end and put the rear end together with different components, an axle housing that didn't have a fill plug, plus a differential carrier that also didn't have a fill plug because they were from different years, which just results in the worst combination you could have chosen. And here I am trying to clean it up and figure it out. So, all that to say, let's get under there and see what I can get done. Okay, so now that you're looking, post 1967, fill plug should be like here, and on the axle housing side it'd be on like the back right. Should be a fill plug like here. Nothing. No plug for us, so that's cool. Well, let's start by juicing all the nuts, because those haven't been taken off in more than 30 years. And I'm sure they'll come out just as easy as can be. Not. Absolutely not. This is my ATF mixture again. Somehow I'm thinking those bottom ones don't need any help at all. Pro tip, the way to differentiate, no pun intended, between a Ford 8-inch rear end and a 9-inch is whether or not you're able to fit your socket on these, I think it's these two, bottom two nuts, because a 9-inch you would have to use an open-ended wrench. An 8-inch you can fit your socket on there. Let's see if we can throw a socket on there. And break, well, I know we can throw it on there. Let's see if we can break them loose. Okay. Will you fit? Kinda. Rolling on the floor. Just rolling on the floor. Oh, yeah. Nice, not too bad. Let's start from the top, shall we? Oh, no slippage this time. Oh, that's tight. Very tight. Oh, I got it. Oh, thank goodness. Oh, I thought that was it. Oh. Oh, my. Hold on, that one we can actually hit with an impact. And I'm just going to save myself the trouble. All right, Jimbo. Time to come out. Give me my socket back. All right, same thing here on the other side. I do often wonder what it might be like to own your own lift and not crawl on the floor like this. Pipe, your pipe. Didn't even have to get up. That's a score. That's a good day. Thank you, cheater pipe. More of the side. Jeez. Let me get a pry bar. We'll be back. All right, got myself not a pry bar, but a long screwdriver, which is essentially the same thing, is it not? Tell me I'm wrong. I'm not trying to tear up any mating surfaces. Okay, well. If I smack it with a dead blow hammer. Don't know what they try. I've got a, what is this, a 1? Got a 1 pound and a 5 pound, I think. Again, not a lot of throw can be had in here, but maybe it'll loosen some of this up, I don't know. Try the other side again. And now, nothing good about this, man. Back to the drawing board here for a minute. All right. So I'm thinking, there I go thinking again. I'm thinking that I need to I got the tire off on the passenger side already. I need to take driver's side tire off. Remove the axle half shafts to be able to actually remove the differential carrier. And maybe that's part of what's got us stuck or hung up or however you want to say it. Mirror dart. Mirror drum. Oh, I'm gonna have to back these off a little. Okay, maybe not. Appreciate it. Thank you, drum. Now, the way that this is supposed to work, got a little hole right here through our axle flange, and you'd come through here. There's a little nut, which I think just has grease on it. Either that or I just grabbed the wrong size again. Hop on there. There should be, there's 2 or 4 of these on there. Undo these, take them off, and you ought to be able to slide the axle shafts out. I just don't know how stuck these are going to be in there, and if it's going to be difficult for me to remove, or I don't know. We're about to find out, I guess. There goes nothing. Yeah. Need like a slide hammer. I don't think I have a slide hammer though, so I'm either gonna need to get one or see if I got something that would work. Give me a minute. Well, I'm gonna have to go buy a slide hammer. Surprise, surprise. Got something cool I found though while I was looking for the slide hammer. Now I can alert the whole town when there's good shenanigans about to go down. Yeah. Oh, I love that. All right. I'll get back with you when I got a slide hammer. Well, howdy do, folks. Slick back here in the shed. So I'm back now with a slide hammer and axle pulling flange attachment that we can use to pull those axle shafts out. I secured them on loan via a loaner tool program from one of the big box stores. Although I will say, and maybe you will have this issue as well. Part number 27032 OEM tools, the casting flash on the inside of these prohibited me putting this on, installing it, if you will, as intended. So I did the next guy a favor and made it, I removed the casting flash. That's all I'll say. Yeah, and it still ain't perfect, but at least this way it's not going to just screw up the threads. So just use your lug nuts here. It's not going to be tightened down all the way, threaded. So that's all you need. Big old fella, our slide hammer, OEM part number 57033. Send this in. So, the way this is supposed to work is I should be able to just give it a nice yah, and she comes right out. Never done this before, but I don't want to do like if you're trying to, you know, hook a fish and just rip it right out, you know what I mean? Don't want to go too hard, is what I'm saying. So let's just firm, but not too much. There. Jeez, they were all just stuck together. Okay, you just sit there then. Bearing. It rolls. You know, all considered, the oil doesn't look too bad. Now, when I spin that bearing, it's not grinding or anything. I think she'll be all right. Well, we're gonna need a new gasket. Well, that's one side. Go snag the other, and then we'll see if we can get the differential assembly out of there. You know what I think I forgot to do on this side? And I sure did. Glad I didn't start going too crazy here. You got to take the flange nuts off. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has those days. Hold on here. All right, back on we go. Try again. There. Ta-da! Come here. Yeah. Well, the good thing is, this wheel bearing feels the exact same as the other one, so that's good, right? Not a whole lot of slop in it. Okay, so that should mean that the differential carrier is free, and I need to get a floor jack under there with me under there. Gotta muscle that out. It's gonna be real heavy, so that's fun. All right, let's get under the car. Okay, so you can see it's finally draining because I got a screwdriver in there just so barely on the other side. I have never spent so long trying to get two parts to separate like I have just now. There, I got my big pry bar under there. I'm able to start getting this thing out. What a pain. It's probably been an hour and a half. I've just been down here just working my way around, trying to get this thing to come apart. We're gonna let this drain, and then I'm gonna get our floor jack underneath the end of our carrier here to help, to assist me in getting this out and down. This is one of those times you work at something so long that even when you succeed, you're just too tired to celebrate. Mentally, I'm jumping for joy though. I wonder if I can get like pretty much right up under it with my chest. I wonder if I could just chest press it out of there. Okay, I get this thing out. Where am I putting it? That's thinking ahead right there. Should probably get like a piece of cardboard. Wish I would have thought of that before I laid back down, but I got a flat piece that was what the torque converter came on. Oh. Alright, hold washers that I need to take off here. Mirror washers. This is a squarish looking washer. And I think our data tag was supposed to be attached to that one. But I do have a casting here that if I can clean that up, I'll see what this should have come in. Come here. Oh. Ease her on down. Oh yeah, that stinks, dude. Whew. They do say that gear oil smells terrible. I agree. Yeah, it was heavy, but if you just, you know, get the center of gravity over your over the top of your shoulders or your chest, you're fine. That's good for today. I got to come back another day, clean it all up. We'll look at that casting and we'll do a little drilling like I said we would and put our plug in. Sound good to you? All right, sounds good to me. Well, I'll see you then. Hey-o. Howdy folks, Slick back here in the shed. Another beautiful day back in the shed actually. We have, let me show you. Parking brake cable came in, which is nice. So we're gonna throw that in there quick. Then I will be able to throw the engine and transmission back in there. Yay, I've been waiting on it. This is definitely something you want to do before you put the engine and transmission in there. There's not a lot of room underneath the car once you get that in there, you know what I'm saying? So, do this first. Let's work on that, then we're going to move back towards our differential assembly. We got to clean that up. We'll look at the casting code, see what we got there, and then hopefully I'll be able to find a good spot. I know where factory they would have put the fill plug on the differential carrier assembly post 1967. I just want to make sure that me drilling and adding this little 1/2-inch plug isn't going to make contact with any of our rear gears, basically, not inhibit any function. I don't think it will, but you know that at this point, you ought to know that I try to be as thorough and detail-oriented as I can, so we don't have issues in the future. So that's what we're doing. Well, let's do it. I hope you enjoy watching me climb in and out of the engine bay. That's where I'll start, because I need to feed the end of this end of the cable with the ball up through the hole in the firewall, which consequently, I don't know that it's really sealed up super well in there, but that is a project for a future time, you know what I'm saying? This piece I think I'm going to put in from the cab side. Easy as she goes. And then we sit on the front sway bar. Ah, it was made for me. So right now, I guess this isn't 289 V8. This is a 96 half horsepower, slick powered. You know what I'm saying? All right, sorry. I'll tell you this. Ball just slightly looks like almost too big to fit in there. So that's not cool, man. I don't know how yet, but I will make it smaller. I will make it fit. Why can't they just manufacture things right? Why do I have to fix it all? I'm gonna move in now and start trying to finagle this. Wish me luck. Well, I hope you can see and get a kick out of this. Apologies on the mess down here. It's kind of my catch-all spot for the parts and such while I'm down here. I need to put this protective piece over top of this first. This cable, slide that on down. I think that's eventually supposed to poke through. Get on up! Protects it from going through the firewall, I think. Yeah, sure. All right, that's on there. There we go, a little lower light so I'm not just blinded. Like I'm looking at the sun. Can't feed the ball through the rear of this without it getting stuck. So there's problem number one. Push that down in there. Not stab myself. Nope. I might have cast that ball a little too big. Ain't working like we wanted it to. Well, everything's fixable too. What's the best way to do that? Sandpaper? I've got a better idea because that would take forever. I'm going to take that assembly back out and use the bench grinder. See how that works. I just need it to work. Okay, let's see. And I can rotate it, so it ought to be fine, right? Again, not perfect, but I might have ground that enough around all sides that, hey, maybe she works. Let's go try to fit it. We're real close. Okay, I gotta hit her one more time, and I bet you she'll work. Wanted to show this to you as comparison before I throw it into the car. I had to go back and spend a lot more time grinding this down, just a lot of guessing and checking. Finally got it down to what I think is going to work, and we'll test fit it here together because I'm pretty confident it's going to slide in exactly how I want. Left here, well, my left, your right, is the old ball from that cable. Here's the new one that we ground down. Pretty equal in size, about as close as I really need to get it. Okay, here's our mechanism. Way to do this is slide this in from the back, get yourself some extra cable, make a loop, push her down, straight in. I'll hold that in place, pull our slack out. This ought to sit flat. As it is. But why? But why did we have to do that? That was unnecessary. You pay money for a part, you expect it to work, okay? No machining required. What if somebody doesn't have a bench grinder? Then they're going to be sitting there with a piece of sandpaper. You could get there. It just take you a while. Had to do a little manual filing too, but we're where we need to be now, so all's well that ends well and such. Jeez. Let's try this again. I'm assuming you can see that cable now. Oh, screw. Why do you do this to me so? Maybe I should have taken this off the bracket first. It loads 16 tons. What do you get? Another day older and deeper in debt. Come on. Come here. I just want to talk. Alright, that's enough of that. Oh, it's more difficult than a lot of projects we've had so far. Get your hiney in here. Okay, park and brake cable is installed up here. Good. Wow. Weird to see that thing moving like it's supposed to. But let's get under here and we'll secure the end piece of that front cable assembly to the equalizer bar, and then we ought to be able to see the park and brake actually work again, which I am extremely excited about. It hasn't worked in my lifetime. Gramps just figured, who needs a park and brake? Who needs an emergency brake? Which, for a lot of applications, I don't blame you. Gotta throw this through this hole. Come here now. Feed her on through. Well, hold on. Just tell me what you need, then. Like so? Alright. Good. Fine. Okay, now, our little piece that's terribly difficult to get off. Are you easier going on? Yes, you are. Wow. That's amazing. Good work with me. I got it. Sorry. Didn't know you weren't looking. Got her secured in here in our equalizer bar. So you see how if I actuate this bar, just pull it, this is simulating the cable pulling the bar. Tightens this cable here, and this cable runs, this is towards the driver's side rear, and then this goes across the underside to the passenger side of the car and all the way back. Those actually both of the shoes with a cable attached to each of the drums in the rear. That's cool, man. All right, watch these shoes for me, if you would. They should, if I hooked up all the assemblies correctly, this should do what I need it to. Is that doing anything? I'm looking back here. I don't know that I saw anything moving. Maybe the cable here is a little too slack. Maybe we need to look on the other side. Oh yeah, I see them moving. Well, I saw it move. Yeah, they've moved outward. That's cool. Let's try this, because I'm curious. Oh. Yeah, it's just got to be adjusted, but hey, that's doing something, isn't it? Howdy there, folks. Alright, it's another day and we're back. So, was waiting on lots of different tools, parts, whatnot to come in so I could do this properly. But what we're getting ready to do here is throwing in a fill plug. We're going to drill and tap one right there in the middle of this dimple. There's two original from factory. This dimple right here should be in proper position for our forward 8-inch rear end. If I put a 1/2-inch MPT plug in here, which is what I'm going to drill and tap, there should be no interference from that plug to the ring gear and other gear train assembly that's inside of here. We need to have something, somewhere, some way for us to be able to access the gear oil if we need to change it, check level, whatever, in the future. The gear train carrier assembly on the opposite side, which has now been removed, has no plug, nor is there a plug on this side. So this would probably be the easiest, most effective way for us to make that happen. So what we've got here, I got myself a little punch, and all the reference material that I've looked at is showing that if we are anywhere in this center here for this plug, we're going to make it on a flat spot, of course, we should be good. Now I'm just going to tap this one time. There we go. Just to help our drill bit, just give us an extra little assurance, if you will. Got a step bit here, so it shouldn't be walking off. But if we're in the middle of that little dimple, we got that extra assurance. We have a 23/32 drill bit here, and that is what's necessary for us to then follow this up with a 1/2-inch MPT tap. Now I know that in general many of you probably won't approve of practice of doing this, let alone doing it while it's in the vehicle. We're on the home stretch here. I see no real need to pull the axle just to get this done when feasibly I think I can get it done under the car. Boy, we're just having a heck of a time here. Perhaps we ought to do the sensible thing and start smaller. Agreed? Alright. Grab a smaller bit. Smaller bit. Got a 13/32 this time. Step her up a bit. Alright, now of course, we're going to go in on the other side. Clean her out, okay? Goes without saying. Good looking hole. Take myself a little bitty piece of the sand papel. slightly unconventional. Not that anything throughout this process has been conventional so far. I do not have a tap handle large enough for 1/2-inch shank on a 1/2-inch MPT tap. So I got a little smart, I don't know, you call it whatever you want. Got myself a 17 millimeter, and the end of this tap fits in there just nicely. Nicely enough to where I can be able to hold this straight, and we can throw this on the end of a ratchet, you see. And we got ourselves a nifty little ratcheting setup going there. And we're gonna do our best to keep this as straight as possible. Not too shabby, man. And then on top of that, we can put some thread sealant on there too, you know. And then come back here, once all those are, you know, all that's together, and we have a system that's ready to be sealed, and then fluid added back into it, I can just pop our plug out here, fill it from in here, plug it back up, call it good. Fantastic. Hi there folks, Slick back here. So you'll see I got the differential carrier assembly here out on the table, and some of you may not like this, a lot of you are going to understand, right? So we're trying to get this project car complete. What I need to do is, since I've already got that whole tapped, threaded, got the plug in on the back of the axle housing, I need to clean up this differential carrier assembly, specifically where the mating surface is, where it's supposed to seal into the axle housing. I'm going to use a flat edge. So if you got a razor blade, you could use a razor blade. I'm going to use putty knife and go, you know, at an angle. This is a sharper one. May end up using razor blades too to get the old gasket material off. And then I may or may not entirely sure yet, just use like a brush, like I would have went through, toothbrush, like I would have gone through the transmission rebuild I did recently. Link up here in the video for you if you want to see that. I suggest you watch it. It's very thorough. And just brush through some mineral spirits to kind of clean this up here. I see just a slight amount of gunk here and there, but in the end, I'm not trying to, I know this is all gunky dirty on the outside over here. Considering the rest of the axle housing is also just gunked up, and this is going to take quite a while to kind of clean that, that would be a project for another day, and I'm not too concerned about it. So this is, you got to draw a line somewhere, right? So this is where we're going to stop. So yeah, this is just going to be me cleaning it up, getting this ready, test fitting it to make sure that it fits in there with the plug, which it should, depending on, considering the placement. But yeah, let's just clean this up a bit, and we'll go from there. Okay, so we're back underneath the car. I'm gonna do our test fit here. Forgot how heavy that differential carrier is once you're down underneath the car. So I already went through and cleaned up the mating surface here on the axle housing. Of course, you saw what I did with the differential carrier itself. We're going to just test fit it down to ensure that our ring gear isn't buttoned up against where our plug is, which I don't believe that it is. But we're going to confirm before we put a new gasket on there and seal it up, of course. As much fun as this won't be to lift this in and out, it's what we got to do. There. Tell you what, you really don't want to do that over and over. Let me just go on the back side, take out our plug quick, and we'll confirm that we're all good. All right, my normal light died on me. So what you got is my phone's camera light held up by the disconnected exhaust pipe. Cole, do you not have another light? Yeah, I do, but it's a treble light way over there, and I didn't feel like snagging it. We'll see what she looks like. I'll get you up there. There, hopefully you can see in there. We got, the only thing that's, the ring gear is in there, but it's a little bit further off kilter to the left there. I notice you can't really see what I'm seeing here, but you got to just trust me, okay? I'm doing the best I can for you, all right? So we'll just put that plug back in, we'll get on the other side, we'll put our gasket back on, bolt that third member back up, put our flange gaskets on for the axles, slide the axles back in there, throw our fluid in, then we'll be able to change our fluid whenever we need to. Okay, got our gasket. We're going to throw some of that ultra black RTV, room temperature vulcanization, to help ensure that we don't have a leaky. Come here. We're just going to give her the old dabble, do ya? You should probably wear gloves while you're doing this too. I've got rights. I've got rights too. Do you think Hank Jr. would approve of this? Okie dokie, artichoke. Okay. Yep, she'll see up real nice. Back it up. Oh, what are you doing? Not even watching. Get on there. Don't you leak. Don't you even think about it. Okay. Now I'm just gonna bolt it up. Get on. Sorry about that. I just ate some metal from 1968. That's good for you. All right. Got them all in there. Just going through, doing some torquing. Oh, that's enough of that. Torque! Out of there, folks. Slick back here in the shed, under the car, obviously. Yeah, we are deviating slightly from our actual axle shaft installation. We'll come right back to that. Had the wrong sized gasket. That's the last time. I don't measure the inner diameter of whatever I'm getting a gasket for before I buy it. Look, I don't know why there's a 2 and 11/16 inch gasket and a 2 and 7/8 inch gasket, both for rear axle of a 1968 Mustang. But postponing that, we're gonna move into trying to get ready to install the engine and transmission. I'm gonna see if I can do that today. But prior to doing that, I need to put things in there like the transmission cross member. We'll have to put the engine cross member up in there too. Let's get those in there, and then we'll see if we can drop that engine in, and we'll go from there. Don't pay attention to this rear brake line that's just not attached to anything. You don't need a secure brake line. It might get the zip tie fix, but to be honest with you, that's what's holding it in there right now. There we go. Well, you know what they say about this time. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. We'll give her a shot. No. Check our other side. We're good on our driver's side. Oh yeah, passenger, we're sliding right in. We're on it, baby. I need to be able to get it to slide back ever so slightly here. All right. I'm unsure what last you saw. The camera shut off on me while I was in the middle of trying to put the, I think it was when I was trying to put the engine mount bolts through where it meets up with the bracket. Man, the one on the passenger side really fought me. Put the transmission cross member in. It's all bolted up. So we're in there. We're solid. We are home. We'll come back and connect everything another day. Throw our radiator in, hook everything up, get it aligned, finish up with the axle, put the drive shaft in, and shoot, I just gotta put the hood on. That's what I'm talking about. I think that was a Camaro. 90s, late 80s. We'll catch you back on the next one. Hi there, folks. We're back. Don't mind the sound you hear in the background. That'd be my truck running to keep the air conditioning on for my volunteer help that is napping on the job. But while we had the time to get something done, figure we put our axle shafts back in. Got the correct size gasket now. This previous one that I bought, that is not correct. You see the size difference? I am guessing this is still applicable for like a 67, 68, whatever, Mustang. Maybe one with the 6-cylinder as opposed to the 8-cylinder. Not sure exactly. But regardless, this is the shape, the inner diameter of this hole for this gasket, 2 7/8. For this gasket, 2 7/16. Sorry, 2 11/16 inches. Rips the gasket. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's the one. Make sure that we have this area here where our bearing is going to be nice and clean. Put some gear oil in there, perhaps. Make sure we don't have any particulate. Just a little. That's all we need. Oh yeah, this stuff stinks too, I tell you. Now, we're supposed to lubricate the end of our axle shaft, throw our gasket on it, and slide her in. I'm gonna start rotating this around, applying our stud nuts. Now I gotta torque those down a spec, and then it's rinse and repeat on the other side. Hi, baby.
What did you do?
Oh, I'm just working inside the shed. Do you want to come see?
Well, you have to get from there on the shed.
Oh, what am I doing?
What are you doing?
Howdy, folks. Slick back here in the shed. Yeah, last I left you, my volunteer help woke up in the truck and decided that she very much did not want to just be sitting in there. But we're back now. Got myself a transfer pump here so we can pump our new fluid in through the plug hole that we made. The rear end is supposed to take 4 pints, 16 ounces to a pint. 4 pints total. One of these bottles is 32 ounces, so this is 2 pints. Therefore, you need 2 bottles for your 4 pints. The simple measurement they also give in the book is to the bottom of the filler hole. What if yours didn't come with a filler hole? There's also something specific in that manual about adding a Ford brand friction modifier. As far as I can tell from all the reading I did online, any type of... Now, okay, there's a lot of differing opinions here. So if you got a very strong opinion on it, leave a comment below. I have found through my own research that any GL5 gear oil, specifically any GL5 rating would do. The weight of the oil that I see people using differs, okay? I went with what majority opinion I saw, which was 80 weight 90, okay? You got a problem with that? Figure it out on your own car, all right? Okay. Get our plug open there. Sit in there. There, you ought to see it flowing now. Whoa, there she goes. We'll be back after a few brief messages. The way this is supposed to work is, say that yours did have a fill plug. You should be able to reach in here and tell how much fluid you have based upon how far you have to stick your pinky in there. Yeah, about to here, I'd say. That's fine. I know how much I put in there, which is what it specified, so I'm cool. Let's put the thread sealant on that plug and get this hole plugged up and clean this mess. Got our tires back on. Geez, we could put it back on the ground. Boy, I'll tell you what. I don't know if you were hearing that the way that I was hearing that. And it might get louder here in a second. Just torrential downpour. You hear that too? The big splats. Basically right above my head. It's gonna start leaking on me here in a second. That's why I gotta fix the leaks on top of the shed, okay? But it's a matter of time, okay? I'm trying to get this done. I gotta do that stuff. I gotta work at least 8 hours a day. When do you do that? The more torrential downpours we have outside, the bigger the leaks get, the higher this jumps up in priority, I guess. So we're back. I finished off with the axle. I actually spray painted here. I want to show you this just to clean them up, you know. Since I got the engine in, I want to do this sooner than later. I hear that if you leave the engine disconnect, oh, I think I grabbed the wrong one. You leave the engine inside the engine bay, but with these braces disconnected for too long, and over time, you know, maybe the engine bay just starts to just ever so, you know. Makes sense. I don't want to risk it. Put these braces in here quick is what we're doing, is what I'm telling you. Could look better, could look worse. Braced. Take our engine lift equipment off is what we'll do. All right. Sure, just keep dropping more of them on the ground. Pull this big old honking thing out of there. Pull this big old honking thing out of there. Just fighting me. Go through and remove our other lift plate. Whoopsie daisers. Get on there, would you? Gasket under there appears to be intact. Throw our carburetor back on there. Coarse threads down. If you didn't know, it's a coarse thread on one side, fine thread on the other. The fine thread is what takes, the bolts are the fine thread, so those would be up. The coarse threads are going down into the intake manifold. And you can just thread them down as far as you want by hand. They will get tightened down when you secure your carburetor. And the way this ought to work is you need to have a paper gasket on the bottom. Then on top of that, depending on your model year or whatever you have, if it's a 289 through 02, what have you, you'll have a, I believe it's pronounced phenolic, spacer plate that has a little tube on the back of it that connects up to your PCV positive crankcase ventilation valve. Basically just recirculates your exhaust gases back into the intake. Helps burn it a little cleaner, I suppose. but this would connect on the back of that. This is otherwise just a spacer plate, but this would go with the tube to the back, and on some, not all, of these spacer plates, you will see engraved on one side where it says top. Top would mean upwards towards the sky, top of the engine. So we'll slide that on. And on what would sit on top of that, but what is considered to go on the bottom of your carburetor, is a larger, looks like it's a 1/4 inch thickness. I don't know if it's made out of like a plastic. That goes on the bottom of your carburetor. Okay, spill fuel everywhere. Lovely. Why walk to the other side? She's a beaut, Clark. Tightening our spark plugs and then reconnecting our hoses. Oh, I'm trying. I'm really trying out here. How you doing today? I'm fine, thanks. Tighten these all by hand first so I'm not just wasting my time. If you hear the buzzing, it's my wife sending me 5 or 6 text messages in a row. Just do me a solid. You watch this video, you send everything in one text like I do, please. You're not going to. That's all right. I love you anyway. Slick, are you mad you got a wife that loves you? No, right? That's not what I'm saying. She's awesome. I wouldn't be able to do this without her. It's the brownie points right there. Okay, we're gonna hook back up the spark plugs. Ford made it real easy as far as their numbering system for their cylinders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Firing order on the early 302s and the 289s. 1, 5, 4, 2, 6, 3, 7, 8. It's written on the intake manifold here somewhere too. My number 1 is marked. Here's my number 1 plug. So the way you do this is the distributor rotor rotates counterclockwise. So if you consider that marked on top of the cap is a number 1, this is the number 1 spark plug. I have already, when I set my initial timing, you would have seen that in the break-in video for this engine. I set our plugs accordingly, plug wires rather, so that it corresponds with our firing order. And so if you just work counterclockwise, you should be able to find which wire you got and plug it into the corresponding spark plug. That's how you do it in a nutshell. I haven't been wrong yet. All right, we've made it. Notice the starter on the ground. Yeah, I had to take that out the other day to get the engine mount bolts in there. It's a long story, man, okay? I don't want to relive the experience, but everything's in there. The C-clamp was involved, so was the punch. I think it's right back here. Is there a hole? Yeah. Starters ain't light, by the way. Positioning your center of gravity just right. About as graceful as it gets right there, folks. I'm kind of proud of that one. Alright, we're back. I'll be adding some heater hoses here before I move on to my exhaust. I'm going to be cutting some hoses to size, and you'll notice that my hoses are going to go inside the cab. And I will tell you this, when and if, I don't know if this would apply to maybe like Ford Fairlane, Montego, etc. I'm kind of guessing it would. But especially for any of the Mustangs, if you are replacing your heater core, because the heater core sits inside of your heater box, which is sitting inside of the cab, just barely anyway, above the passenger side, like behind where the glove box is basically, so it'd be above the passenger feet, ankles, You see where I'm going with this? I would recommend that you buy the heater core that has the longer extended inlet outlets. Reason being is that if anything were to burst, nobody is going to get scalded. So I'm gonna rough measure from the inside of the cab, from my inlet outlet pipe to their respective holes through the firewall. And then I'll measure from the firewall up to where I need to make a connection at the engine. Here's this coming in. Okay, are the heater hoses in now? Yes, they are. Did I have to recut both of them because I left them maybe, you know, 3 inches short each? Maybe. Get some type of exhaust connected here amongst doing some wiring. Howdy there, folks. Slick back here in the shed. Last I left you, I think we were starting to look at wiring. Well, I've been a busy bee today, and I'm gonna save you the trouble from having to watch me do more wiring on this car, because we've already done quite a bit if you've seen the earlier parts, so I'll spare you. I hooked everything back up that we could at this point in time. I did a temporary check with some jumper cables, because I need a new positive battery cable to complete the system. So less that, I use jumper cables just as a temp to see. You've seen me do it in the past on some of my other videos. You hook it up accordingly. And just to get power running throughout the vehicle. Did that, was able to test everything interior wise. That works great still. Our lights look fantastic. I loved it. So yeah, there was some cool stuff in there. Very nice, glad everything's working. But I disconnected all that, of course, because you don't see it connected now, and went through. I'm also sparing you from watching me do the radiator install. I actually upgraded our radiator. Let me show you what an older, the old one looks like. Oh, I gotta walk through the entire shit. Oh. This is the closest one I could find. Here's what the older one looks like. Pretty narrow, not very tall in comparison. You see how the newer one's a bit wider and thicker and taller. Still was able to fit in the original mounting points. There's four bolts go in here. There's basically like a little flap plate that you bolt in that covers up and acts as the shroud. There's no real shroud past that though. There's basically just these plates blocking any additional air gaps so that the majority of your air is just getting funneled through here. But because of that thicker radiator now, the original fan that was on this, and granted I don't know that it's necessarily original to the car, had this longer extension on it, right? Well, because of that, it does not fit. So I have an extra laying around, which I think I pulled off of the engine that was sitting in the 1964.5 Mustang, which is actually it's either 69 or 71 302. Don't know if that fan is original to that car either, but we'll have a shorter fan anyway that'll work, mechanical fan. Could upgrade to just electrics in the future if we want. I just didn't account for that, so I figured we'd just stick with the mechanical, and we'll just go from there. The only things that we have left to do: connect the exhaust, connect the drive shaft, go through, fill up the radiator, make sure the engine's full of oil again, fill the transmission up, connect our positive battery cable, and make sure this is aligned, and we are ready to go. Next thing I'm moving on to, at this point I suppose, is exhaust. So we're under the car, obviously. So you are sitting just before the H in the H pipe, and I'm basically gonna be throwing the H pipe itself, whoa, to where it bolts up in the manifold. That's what we're doing first. See if I can get this just right. Have to lift this up a bit. Doing everything by feel, so give me some slack. Thank goodness. Why do we even need mufflers? Why don't we just... Could I just run it like that for a while? I mean, that's pretty solid. Well, we could definitely test drive it just like that. Howdy folks, Slick back here in the shed. We're feeling pretty enthusiastic today. First thing we'll start with is hooking back up our transmission coolant lines. All right, got ourselves some lines here. Oh, I gotta be able to hook one up to the well, howdy do. I gotta be able to hook one of these up to the transmission first so I know which order these are going in. Okay. Okay, we're close. Just hold on. So, they're in. Albeit it took much longer than it probably should have. Here, go ahead. Get your oohs and ahs out. Ooh. Just so you're tracking, it has to go above the sway bar. The engine cross member. Ooh, sorry. The steering linkage. Around the starter. And into its two respective locations. Just behind the bell housing and around the vacuum modulator. Close to there before the transmission cross member. So now I've got the pleasure of hooking up the radiator hoses. There. Yeah, no more Mr. Nice Guy. Okay, last thing I want to do quick. Throw ourselves a new positive battery cable on here. Put a little bit more oil in it, fill the transmission up, fill the radiator too. Yep. There. That would be fine. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 cord in there. We'll have to start it to add more anyway. Why is the petcock open? All right, now that I've leaked most of the coolant out, this feels silly. Howdy there, folks. Slick back here in the shed. You may be looking at this and wondering, am I seeing some old footage right now? What is the transmission doing apart? You are not looking at old footage, unfortunately for me. There were leaks. Okay, you saw me put this combo into the car. I filled it up with a little bit of fluid to see, I thought we were good, right? Had some fluid sitting in there, like maybe a quart or two. I put a quart into the torque converter and then, like another one in the transmission. That was sitting for a couple days. Thought it was fine because I didn't see any leaks, but I threw, maybe a couple more, 2, 3 more quarts in. Come back the next day, not huge, but around the pan. So that's number one. Didn't need to take the whole thing out just to fix, the pan leak. What I needed to take the whole thing out to fix was, and you can learn from my mistakes, my gear selector linkage. I've already flipped it, but as you can see here, it's facing upwards. It was facing downwards, okay? Let me just tell you this, all right? That was my failure, okay? But the wisest man I ever knew told me that failure is life's greatest teacher, okay? The Ford service manual has a couple contradictory diagrams in there. If you're looking at the Group 7 is the section in the manual. Group 7 C4 automatic transmission. There's a couple diagrams with the selector facing up, a couple with it facing down. I didn't think as I didn't think, is the key word. I didn't think enough about it as I was, as I threw everything back together and then put it in the car subsequently. So, learn from my mistake. This thing needs to go up because there's no way that you can make that change unless you slide the whole gear train assembly out so that you can pop the little, what would be your kick down linkage that sits inside. This slides through here. There's no way for you to, it actually slides from the inside. There's no way for you to pull that out because it's banging against the sun shell. So I'm going to, for the maybe 4th time, I don't know, tear this down just a little bit further. I'm going to put Permatex everywhere. Everywhere that there is a gasket. Not necessarily everywhere that there's a seal. Okay, I don't need it. You don't throw them on your O-rings, especially with your pan gasket. Just do yourself a favor. There and your tail shaft housing gasket, throw some Permatex down there. Okay, all this stuff is uneven surfaces. I was thinking the gasket would seal as it was supposed to, but considering everything is just save yourself the hassle. Learn from my mistake. Put the gasket dressing on there. Hopefully the next time you see me, this is already back in the car, and we are connecting the drive shaft and getting ready to start this thing. I'll see you in, like, hopefully 3-4 hours. Alrighty, folks. Coming to you live from underneath the car. I told you earlier if you were seeing me this afternoon, which it is this afternoon, about 3 p.m. Started working at like 5:36 this morning. Been a busy bee. I told you earlier that if you were seeing me, I was about to put the drive shaft in, and looks like a drive shaft to me. Got the exhaust back in there, got the transmission coolant lines back in there, got the entire transmission hooked back up the way it's supposed to be. At this point, all we need to do is connect our drive shaft, top all of our fluids off, and we ought to be able to see this thing run for a little bit. Might be able to even pull this thing out. There's the old slip yoke. Nice.
Like a glove.
Now, we just gotta connect it at the rear here. Oh, I should have thought sooner.
Grab the jack stand, an extra one.
Oh, there's one within grabbing distance. Oh, come here. Come here, little guy. Oh, yeah. That's so much better. Whew. I ain't going anywhere. It's like one more thing I need to do with the shift linkage. Cotter keys. Cotter keys. Cotter keys. I'm as free as the breeze and I ride where I please. Cotter keys. Ah, yes, okay. I can't see. Oh, how convenient. Ah, a pin for you. Ah, yes, this has a pinhole as well. Oh. Yep, I need a different pin. Oh, might be easier to just come out this way. What am I dragging? Oh, okay. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, pin. Need a pin. Okay, we got an assortment of pins here. I think we're gonna have to go with the 1/8 inch. Okay. Okay, let's get on the ground. All right, we're looking good on the stick for right now. All right, let me clean up a second. Then we will check our coolant and go from there. Double check our oil quick, which is good. Fan. Oh yeah, this is where it, whoa, it's just gonna challenge me. Is the throttle even hooked? It's hooked up, right? Need a throttle return spring first as well. That could have been bad. We're checking. We're checking things before we go crazy. All right, found one. We can make do with that, I think. All right. Oh, I forgot. I know, I'm just teasing you right now. We gotta prime the fuel balls. That, the fuel in the tank ain't, let's just say it ain't. It could be better. Let me check quick just to make sure the starter will bumper over. No. Ignition is not doing the thing. Wonder if that's a neutral safety switch. How much juice we got in the battery? We got enough to run the lights, but is it? We still got enough to start the vehicle. What we got? 13? Yeah. That should be enough. Actually, let's try. Put the key on here. We're in park. Yeah, just the solenoid, it would seem. Remember, this has got basically straight pipes right now, so might be a little loud. There we go. That's so loud. Oh, needs a little timing. Hold on. That is so loud. So loud. That's awesome. We might have a... I think we got a slight leak over here. Might be dripping oil. Well, no, maybe it's just burning off what was on it. Oil and such, because I don't see any leaks yet. Yeah, nothing that I can see. Oh, no, it's the bad gas. I can smell it. Yeah, I don't blame you, honey. All right. Well, there's adjustments to be made. I'm thinking that it doesn't really want to run on that bad gas. I don't blame it one bit, but good. Got to hear it run for a little bit. Stay tuned for the last part where I'm gonna do our final adjustments on this, and then we'll get a road trip ready. As always, I appreciate you watching. I love working on this. This one especially. This one's very sentimental to me, and I'll explain to you why in the next part. Stay tuned, and take care.